Hello, I am the H-Town Vet, and I would like to welcome you to our channel, a place where we will discuss the variety of benefits available to veterans and their dependents. Today we will be talking about VA compensation and broken promises. If a veteran is awarded 100% permanent total, which is the highest schedule rating with the most benefits, on their award letter they will be given certain promises or protections to include that the condition is permanent in nature and no future exams. Once you're awarded 100% permanent total, you decide not to file any other claims and just lay low. Given the promises on your award letter and the advice from other veterans, you think you're in the clear, right? Well, as you're about to find out, that's not always the case. For those of you that have been following me, you know there's an exception to any VA rule. So while you're thinking that your struggles with the VA is behind you, your claim comes across a VA rater's desk. Given your 100% PNT status, what does the rater decide to do? Well, in this scenario, the rater decides to schedule you for a re-examination. Then you ask yourself, with the VA backlog on claims, how do they have time to reevaluate any veteran, especially one with 100% permanent total status? Not even I have the answer to that. To understand how the VA works, you must first know its main purpose, which is to process disability claims for veterans. In practice, the VA has three functions. The first is to provide compensation to veterans for disabilities that occurred or was aggravated during active duty service. Next, the veteran may be required to undergo a medical examination to determine the severity of their disabilities. Finally, because some disabilities may change or improve over time, veterans may be required to attend a medical re-examination. Now that we've covered the purpose of the VA and how it works, let's get into some of these promises. The first one is, under VA regulations, when a veteran files a claim, the VA has a duty to assist. For example, if there's equal evidence for and against the claim, the VA is supposed to rule on behalf of the veteran. Other issues that fall under a duty to assist include the VA having to consider all evidence submitted in a timely manner, and the requirement that the VA examiner and VA must consider the whole medical record before denying a claim. Number two, before the VA can make a decision to reduce you, they must notify you first, and they can't deny your appeal without an examination. Now let's deal with the promises that all of us came here for. The promise to protect. The reason I'm taking time to explain all this to you is that we can't deal with broken promises until we know what the promises were in the first place. The VA has several protected ratings, and we're going to go over a few of them here. As with everything with the VA, every protection has an exception. The first protected rating is one we discussed earlier, one that's permanent in nature and not likely to improve because it's static or unchanging. Other ones include veterans over the age of 55 at the time of examination, a disability with no substantial improvement in a 5-year period, the disability is at its lowest rating already or at a 10% rating. Under the 20-year rule, any rating that you've had for 20 years cannot be reduced unless you committed fraud. At the end of every VA document you sign, they will have a section that says that if you present any information that you know to be false, that you can be imprisoned or fined. You might say, H-Town Vet, that's not going to happen to me. I know how to play the game. If you don't mind your game involving fines and jail time, that's on you. Let's say you show up to the VA every time in a wheelchair because your disability prevents you from walking on your own. Then you leave in your wheelchair, and once you get to your car, you jump up and say, I got him again. In some cases, if the VA suspects you of fraud, they will actually hire a private investigator to follow you to see if your disabilities are severe as you claim them to be. One veteran in particular found out the hard way how serious the VA is when it comes to fraud. At the time of his conviction, Dennis Paulson had the biggest fraud case in VA history. As you can see in this case, the VA holds us to our promises, so we should be able to hold them to the same. But in this case, Dennis was doing the most. In the early 1990s, Mr. Paulson was medically discharged from the Navy with a 30% rating. By 1997, he was awarded 100% permanent and total for loss of use of hands and feet. Well, as you may already suspect, he did not allow his hands or his feet to stop him from living life to the fullest. He competed in events similar to an Ironman challenge. He ran marathons. He swam. But when it was time for his VA appointments, his condition started to bother him again, and he had to be in a wheelchair where he couldn't walk. What was his downfall, you might ask? The invention of social media. A blog was posted showing Mr. Dennis running a marathon. When it was all over, he owed the VA close to $1.6 million. Just as Mr. Paulson's bad behavior was discovered, the VA themselves was exposed in an audit done by the Office of Inspector General, whose role and responsibilities include serving veterans and taxpayers, and also to have oversight over the VA. The results of the investigation of the VA by the Inspector General wasn't pretty. This is the actual cover page of the investigation. The main conclusion of the audit was that the VA was demanding that veterans attend re-examinations or they could risk losing their disability rating, even though these re-examinations were unwarranted and against VA regulations. With almost 5,000 cases reviewed in the audit, over 3,000 were found to be erroneous or wrong because they were protected ratings and did not warrant re-evaluation. And not surprising, the group of veterans with the most protected rating had the largest percentage of re-evaluations at 60%. Please don't allow yourself to be the victim of clickbait or false flagging. Anyone that tells you that a permanent and total 100% is totally protected is giving you false hope and not preparing you for the reality of what's really happening. Remember, even the 20-year rule, the most protected rating, can be overturned if it was found to be gained through fraud. In the end, the VA is the final judge and jury on whether you keep your benefits. This causes another problem, which I refer to as a conflict of interest. Simply put, the VA purpose is to deny claims, approve claims, reduce ratings when warranted. While the VA will inform you of some of your benefits in your award letter, it's up to you to find out about the rest of them. I hope the results of this audit has helped you to understand that you must play an active role in protecting your benefits. I would like to end with 2 points, one a question and the other a solution. First, the question: how can an agency like the VA that has the ability to reduce your compensation be responsible for protecting it? Now my final point, the solution. The only way veterans can really take their benefits serious is by becoming informed and getting with other veterans so that we can protect these benefits. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click on the notification for the next video.